So that is a perfect storm of difficulties, mostly stemming from your own personal actions. And I can certainly sympathize when you talk about the transition portion, from one career to another, an entirely different life. Once when I was injured, I had to come to grips that that previous life is gone. That's over. That the phase was it was gone. That chapter was closed, and I had to create a whole new life for myself. And you did really well for yourself, but you say it was ego driven. Was there were not like the foundational systems checks, balances? You didn't have somebody as a backstop for the decisions that you are making in your life. There wasn't somebody there that could help you make the right decisions, or was this you just driving the bus and taking it off a cliff?
So that's a great question, Aaron. So when I ended up losing everything, my father had passed away in 2006, who was my North Star. He was my everything. And I could always go to him for help and guidance no matter what. And once I lost him, and once I got into so much money, so much what I thought was success, so much quote unquote stardom with the business, I had no one around me to keep me grounded. I had no one around me to help me stay humbled and focused. So, literally, Aaron, to answer your question, yes, I drove myself off a cliff. No doubt about it. I was the one that got behind the wheel of the bus and I said, gung ho, let's go. And I ran through every stop sign, every dead end. And then I got to a point where it probably said, keep going forward. You're going to fall off a cliff. And I did not listen. And as a young person, I was about 30 or 31, and I felt invincible. I felt I could build that quote unquote bridge that I can then drive across to the other side of fulfillment, prosperity, notoriety, fame. But in reality, I was just another man that was full of himself and full of arrogance and full of egocentric behavior. And I drove myself right off the cliff, Aaron, and I crashed and burned in the ravine.
You mentioned your brother. How was your relationship with him? Where was he at this time?
Oh, he's still alive, doing great. He was, alive. Well, he's doing fine now. He is in Las Vegas. We have a great relationship. But leaning on my brother would not have taught me anything because it wasn't his mess to clean up. It wasn't his fault. It wasn't his poor judgment, poor attitude. One of my clients, his name is Luke, he has a great saying, right? He says, when attitude and aptitude merge, great things happen. So when you have the right attitude and you set the right aptitude for where you want to go and what you want to do in life, you can be great. And I had a bad attitude. I had a low aptitude. And like I said, right, Aaron? Poof, crashed and burned. But my brother, who I love dearly, it was not his mess to clean up.
So you sent the business and your life off the cliff. It comes crashing down. What happens next? Was there a turnaround point? Did you have to kind of go through another transition period again and reevaluate?
That's a great question, Aaron. So I ended up moving to Raleigh with she was at the time my fiance, who became my wife, who is now my ex-wife. And when I got to Raleigh, I had about $400 to my name. I had a job lined up with Merrill Lynch, was working there for a short time. Then I got fired, all my fault. I was trying to work on selling people, and I wasn't practicing for my exams, and I ended up failing my practice test, and they had to let me go because I was not really doing well in that regard. Then I went to a construction company. I was there for about 4 or 5 days and I got fired again because the construction company shut down its doors to their sales store. So the only job I could get, Aaron, was working as a football private coach. I did birthday parties as a football birthday clown, playing football with the kids. And I ended up working as a custodian in downtown Raleigh for $8.25 an hour. And that job was amazing because without that job, right, Aaron, I would have never hit my rock bottom moment, which was my spoiled milk moment, where someone's trash, horrible, protruding, rotten garbage got all over my body, my skin, and my clothes. And that was my wake up call. And once I realized that I needed to make a change, that's what started me on the pathway and the trajectory towards speaking. And I started speaking in September 2013, didn't get a paid speaking job for 2.5 years, got our first paid speaking job April 2016, learned how to give more value than I was charging, learned how to provide more value than people were giving me energy that I was working with. Because if I'm not going to give value to people, they're not going to give me their energy. And I got coached and I got developed. And in the last 8 years, it'll be 8 years next month, Aaron, since our first paid job. We've worked for 55 Fortune 500 brands as a speaker. Of the 55, about 15 to 20 are Fortune 100, like New York Life, MetLife, Siemens, Cisco, Intel, Home Depot. Those are just name a few of our big clients. Liberty Mutual Insurance is just name a few. And what we've done in that regard, we've now become a 4-time best-selling author. We are a podcast host of Get Authentic with Marques Ogden, ranked in the top 0.5% most popular. We speak for all kinds of awesome companies. I'm actually flying out to Cabo Friday, this in 2 days, to speak for 1,000 Mile Travel. Some of their big sponsors, which are Carnival Cruise, United Airlines, SBRE Technology. And we're very fortunate. I mean, we're very, very fortunate that, people love our work, that people are excited about what we're doing, and that we're able to give people our story, our testimony, with challenging them and then giving them action steps, right, Aaron, to better themselves in what they do.